Welcome to the itdvds.com YouTube channel. This is just a sample of the training available at itdvds.com. If you would like to see complete training, please go to itdvds.com. Now let's begin the sample. Every ESX server has a service console, and the service console is basically the command line interface for the modified version of Linux that is ESX. And we can connect to it with an SSH client. Now any SSH client will work. In this example I'm going to use Putty. So I'm just going to open up Internet Explorer, go to Google, and I'll just type in download Putty, hit enter, go to the Putty download page, and I'll just scroll down. There's our Putty executable. I'll just go ahead and download it. I'll just save it to my desktop, click save, and I'll go ahead and close out. And there's Putty. I'll just double click on it to run it. And here's where I'm going to want to type in the host name of our ESX server of the service console we want to connect to. Now we're probably not going to do a whole lot of administration from the service console. A lot of times we use it for advanced troubleshooting or advanced configuration of our ESX server that we cannot do with the vSphere client. So I'll just type in esx01.itdvds.local. Now only ESX servers have service consoles, so our vCenter servers do not have service consoles. If I want to save this session, I would just type in a name for it and click save here. That's if I don't want to type this in every time I open up Putty, but I'll just go ahead and click open. If this is the first time we're connecting to the service console, we're going to get a little RSA warning. Just go ahead and click yes to that. And this is it. Now we log in with a particular user. By default, root access is not allowed via SSH. So if I go ahead and type in root, hit enter, and the root password that we specified in the ESX installation, we'll actually see that in a later movie, hit enter, you're going to see I'm going to get an access denied here. And that's because root access to the service console via SSH, which is what we're doing, is not allowed, and that's for security reasons. In the next movie I'm actually going to show you how to allow root access if you want to. It is less secure, but it can be a little bit more convenient, and you may want to enable it for a short time and then disable it. And in the movie after that I'm actually going to show you how to enable shell access, it's also called SSH access, to the service console for a particular user that we created on an ESX server. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, and let's connect to a server that I've allowed root access to. I'll just double click on Putty, click run, and I'm going to type in esx02.itdvds.local, hit enter, type in root as the username and the password for root, hit enter, and I'm in. As I mentioned earlier, ESX is really just a modified version of Linux, so if you're familiar with Linux, you're going to be right at home here because all of the commands are going to work, or at least most of the commands are going to work. Things like ls to list out the files and directories, change directory. If I want to go up a directory, you can see I'm at the root, hit ls. You can see there are a lot of directories common to most Linux installations. Let's just browse around real quick. I want to show you a couple of folders that are specific to ESX, and that's VMFS and VM images. I'm just going to change directory into VM images real quick. Hit enter, ls. You can see there are two folders here, floppies and tools-iso images. This is a lot of times where we're going to put our images of our floppies and our images of our ISO or CDs or DVDs so that we can perform installations just from an ISO image that is on our ESX server so that we get faster performance, and it's a lot easier than inserting a CD into your ESX server or your client. So I'll just change directory into my tools-iso images. You can see I've got two folders here, Windows Server 2008 Standard 64-bit and Windows Vista Business SP1. Those are ones that I added, and we're actually going to use those later on to install an operating system on a virtual machine. Now let's go back and take a look at the VMFS folder. This is where our VMFS data stores are going to be that are local to this particular ESX server. You can see we've got two folders, devices and volumes. I'm just going to change directory into volumes, and there are actually two data stores that I actually have set up. If you're not familiar with data stores, don't worry, we're going to get to all this. I'm just going to give you a brief tour here. So I'm going to change directory into one of them, ESX02-local02, because I actually have a virtual machine on this particular data store, and it's called desktop 01. So I'll just change directory into that. And these are all of the files that actually make up a virtual machine. We're going to be talking about this all later on. I'm just giving you an example of what it looks like to go into the service console and browse around. Now in the next movie, let's look at actually enabling root access if we want.